Today, I'm delighted to introduce Leona Vermeere and her daughter Katia Vermeere. They're a mother and daughter team behind Rainbow Flash in Belgium. And for more than 40 years, Leona has been a passionate pioneer in the field of light and colour therapy and helping to introduce syntonic light therapy to practitioners all over Europe and, in fact, the world, and co-developing the Photon Wave, which is a colour and light therapeutic device used by healthcare professionals. And today, Katia works alongside with her mother, continuing their mission by supporting practitioners worldwide through training, education, and the ongoing development of the Photon Wave. Katia has a Master of Science in Business Administration and joined the business 3 years ago. And Leona is also the recipient of the ILA Francis McNaman Prize, awarded for her contribution to the spread of light therapy in Europe. So welcome, both of you. It's lovely to have you here.
Thank you, dear. Manisha. We are honored and we are really, pleased that you help us spread the light. Thank you.
That's my pleasure. I would love for you to share a little bit about the Photon Wave device for particularly people who might not know much about it. Maybe you can give an overall rundown of what is it and how does it differ from most other colour therapeutic devices.
Katia, shall I start?
Okay, go ahead.
Well, the difference is that we developed over the time, we started with syntonics because that's what we knew from America. And then after, I think, 10 years or something, the guy who originally made the machine died, and there was no one else to follow up. So, but we were already kind of busy. And then we said, what shall we do? Then we had the good luck that on an exposition in Belgium, there was an engineer. He had a company, and he said, I can provide everything, every single piece that you need. I said, this is fantastic. You are from God, sent from God, And that's how we changed. That was in the time also that Dominique, our son, we have 2 children, Katia and Dominique, was there to kind of help, the progress. And then, we met Dr. Klinghardt, and he was the best. We learned everything from him, and it was not only for the eyes, or had information like about all head and eyes from the syntonics, but he was a medical doctor, and he wanted to have introduced for every single, illness or whatever. He was already famous for autistic children, changing life of autistic children and their family. And also it was also the time that Lyme disease started to get known, and so those were the aspects that we worked on, let's say, differently than other light therapy, other light machines. Is that an answer for your question?
Yes, it's very good. So I understand that you've used it a lot for children who have learning difficulties, and you mentioned autism. So maybe you can tell us a little bit more about how does it work? What happens typically in a session, and just maybe elaborate and tell me more.
Let's say I will talk about it, Katia, because Katia doesn't not yet start with a, let's treating.
Go ahead, no problem.
The only difference is that Dr. Klinghardt said, like, every disease for the moment is because of the pollution, heavy metals everywhere, pesticides everywhere. Even the air that that we breathe, we can't even avoid, all those things. So that makes us more vulnerable. Children are, of course, they are still in the mother's womb. They have all those, let's say inhale or whatever comes. But anyway, so there was like a kind of a procedure that we do with a photon wave, and we call it detoxing. Detoxing, well, there are a lot of things to detox, but this goes much better because it's right directly through the eyes to the brain. You don't have to swallow something. The session is much shorter than at the beginning when we started 40 years ago. People had to come like with their children also, like 20 sessions of each 20 minutes, wait 2 weeks or 3 weeks, again 20 sessions. It was very, let's say, it's no more from for these times. Nobody would come now so many times, and it takes also very shorter time now. It takes in total, you see 3 different colors, and it takes like 8 minutes. So everybody can spend 8 minutes, even a child, when they are really severe, hyperactive or something, then the mother takes them on the lap, when they are small. So that makes the difference. And I'm happy to say we are doing this procedure for years and years. Dr.
It's
Klinghardt
fant-
has helped us with a lot of, those new ideas and yeah.
that's fantastic. So, from what I understand, there's specific programs that uses different combinations of colors, then that
Yeah,
works on the brain first,
yeah,
through the eyes to the brain, to
yeah,
detoxify some of these environmental toxins,
yeah,
and that helps the children's brain to function better. Would you
yeah,
say
yeah,
that's
yeah, absolutely. Because otherwise it's very difficult. You can't change the blood at once. You can't change even your thinking, just think, oh, But we still ask and suggest to the people that they eat properly without pesticides, biological thing. That's also, it's a logical that you would take no more. But then we have like also dentists that work very well with it, osteopaths that work very well with it, because there are different parts. Like, you can use it for this, for that, but it's always because the eyes are the shortest way to the hypothalamus, pineal, and that is where everything is kind of decided. That is where, your sleep pattern, your eating pattern, your sex pattern, whatever, is organized. So if you can reach that directly, you know, it's obvious. It's obvious. It's
mm,
not, yeah, well, it's magical when you got that, But I mean, yeah, that is the
that's
the
fantastic.
the functioning. Yeah,
So, for those people who don't know, I've been fortunate and I've had a few sessions, but the device looks like a long tube that the child or the person actually covers their whole face or their eyes with, and they see the most beautiful display of colors down like a dark tunnel, would you say? And
mhm.
did you say that the sessions are maybe 8 minutes long? They're just
Yeah,
watching these beautiful colors,
yeah.
and this
That
light
depends.
information processes it into the brain.
Yeah. Enfin, what we first of all, let's say some colors are more to the blue side and other colors are more to the red side. This is to stimulate or to just sedate. And that is actually what we can do with the photon wave, because we have different color combinations to activate the the stimulation or the sedation. And well, it's over the years, you can't just it was not done in 1 year. Okay.
So there is
But
training, quite a bit of training involved in learning how to use the photon wave. Can you tell us a bit about
sure.
your training? What if someone wants to learn, purchase this system, what happens?
Um,
So that's
well,
more my
yeah.
my part. So there is a practitioner website, and on the practitioner website, which you gain access when you buy a machine, there you have the whole manual with all the protocols, etc., that are really explained. There's also Q&A, so people can ask their questions. Those are responded either by my mom or me or by the other practitioners. There's each month a Zoominar where practitioners can also ask their questions. Those are recorded. They are all on the practitioner website. So there's already more than 60 hours of footage that people can watch and learn. And so we are very reachable. So also by WhatsApp or the email. So we want our practitioners to work well with their device to help as much people as possible. So there's a whole support system that really works really well behind it. And then so what my mom also mentioned, there are already pre-programmed programs on the device. So for now, there are already around 170 programs. So people can just read whichever suits them well. So there are stress programs, there are physical programs, there are eye programs, there are dentist programs. So depending on in which field you work, you can just either use those or you can see in general what works, because a dentist also has stress. So and also people come with different aches or emotional programs or that they need. So it's and then the session take between 8 and 15 minutes sometimes, depending on the color combination. They come once a week. Sometimes in the beginning they come twice because they really want to. They're so happy that finally they found something that is non-invasive, that just works in a simple way. So they come twice a week, but usually it's only once a week. So that's and that is all well documented on the practitioner website.
That sounds fantastic. Just a really short question. I'm wondering, is it monochromatic light that is being used in the photon wave?
So it is a narrow band filter. So it really is a specific color. And it's a glass filter and it's a halogen lamp. So you have the best quality of light that works with it. You have a glass filter, which is the purest form of color. And it is narrow band. So it really makes it work. And sometimes people ask, like, oh, can't I just put on glasses of a color? They work, but they're not as quick. And it's the combination of the colors that follow one after another that makes it even go quicker. And also there's a flicker rate. So the flickering of the light, which goes until 40 hertz, and the 40 hertz is now really with Alzheimer linked. So there are new studies that they say that you have to use the 40 hertz. Makes also that it goes to the beta wave, or depending on if it needs to calm down or slow down, the flickering makes it also quicker. So it is a combination of all items that makes it just work so well.
Let's
That's
say
fantastic.
we
There's
were three items like light, color, and the flickering. The hertz, they call it hertz, because that is the brainwave pattern that you stimulate also. It's fantastic. Yep.
It is. It sounds really fantastic. I I would love to invest in one myself. But can you tell me also about, you mentioned that children with learning difficulties, autism, it's particularly useful for there, but you mentioned osteopaths and other types of practitioners, even dentists use it. Can you give us some of the other applications where it's also been used successfully?
Medical doctors, of course, huh? Medical doctors, and also people that are coaching, that are, because it's a lot of, actually, emotions are mostly also giving physical symptoms later on. That's known. So emotions, it's a big list also. You feel frustrated, you feel whatever, and they can you can choose, or your client may even choose. This is how I feel. I can't express it, but it helps them to get more in their own personality, to understand themselves better. And so we have medical doctors, they use it only for emotion. No pill,
That's great.
only light. Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of.
Well, as I understand the mental health situation, I think doctors really have great difficulty in knowing how to help people who are struggling with different emotional, psychological conditions. Is really only medication. So, if light can be used, color and light affecting the emotional health, that's really wonderful.
Yeah. And now the war and the uncertainty, and everybody
Mm,
is anxious. You don't feel secure anywhere anymore. So it's
mm,
kind of, you know, this is the easiest way, and they don't get addicted to it
mm.
neither. Yeah.
So, in
So, and it's
effect,
also just one more thing about the dentist, because dentists, they know people had before like amalgam fillings, amalgam, but that is with quicksilver, mercury. So for themselves, they drill it out, but they get. So they use it for themselves also, because otherwise they get also
mm,
like neurological problems. So that's a great, public.
mm. That's fantastic. If dentists can actually protect themselves from the vapors from the mercury, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
So, in effect, people are able to use the syntonic principles, but I say more easily through your training because you've already developed a lot of the color programs plus the pulse rates. So it's really a good, easy way for practitioners to start using some quite complex methods
yeah,
without needing to go really deeply. They've got a device that works well using those. So it's great. Can you tell me about some developments, in particular you, Katia? You've been with the company now for 3 years, and I just wanted to know what it's like for you being part of that, and are there new directions or developments that you're both wanting to take this to, like the next steps?
Well, the base is there, and there's let's say when there are new programs, that has been the biggest change, that now the control box has 999 possibilities. So it's so easy that when there's a new program that has been tested, because the programs are usually developed by ART, which is Dr. Klinghart's testing methods. So they are tested and retested by other ART practitioners, so that you can easily just add it to your device. There's once you bought it, you don't have to invest yearly in an additional program, or that's all included. So that's really fine to know that your device is there for the long. We have devices that are like 20 years old that still function really well. Of course, those are with all the possibilities, but then the flickering that has been put up to 40 hertz is new. So those are the newest and developments. So that's thing. And then of course the Zoom and practitioner website, that is also, yeah, that's compared to before. We all know how to Zoom nowadays, so that's so easy that there's the international possibility to reach everybody. So every practitioner that wants to ask a question just can do it day and night. That's so.
I'm really happy to hear that. I think it's one of the keys for successful practice is if there's the support, the backup, being able to ask questions. So I'm really happy you're doing that. That's wonderful. Well, I wanted to also ask you about if people want to find out more about this system, the photon wave, where do they go to? What's the best steps that they can take to find out more?
Well, they can look at our website, photonwave.be. Of course, there's always limited, because what we didn't mention before yet, but I really should say, this is not a medical device. We don't replace medical, etc., etc. You know the drill. So on our website also there is. We have to, everybody knows we have to be careful in what we say. So there's already a lot of information on it, but there's also a contact form. So it's easy to join us by email, by contact form. You can ask questions, and we are glad to by mail, by WhatsApp, whatever. So they can ask a question, no problem. And then in the seminars of Dr. Klinghardt or in the syntonics, I'm always attending also their seminars. So, and then there they can try the photon wave. I have always 2 devices with me, so they can try, and they can ask me by mail where will be the next congress where I will be. So, yeah.
So you mentioned that there's also webinars or seminars for syntonics and also Klinghardt as well as yours. Are they separate or?
No. So I mean, when there's a seminar of syntonics, I go there with my device. That's and then I have a booth where they can come to visit me. Yeah.
So there's live displays where people can actually come and try it out. That's fantastic. Thank you so much. It's a rather short talk and interview today, but I really appreciate that you've explained everything so well. And I'm excited. I'm actually going to start looking at it a little bit more myself. So
we all need light. We all need light. If you see we are indoors most of the time. When we are indoors, most people have LED or even worse, lamps. They're looking at the screen all day. So more and more diseases or whatever will come due to the lack of sun. That's so. And when we go outdoors, we have sunglasses, hat, protection on our arms. So please do, if you have the possibility to have to use a photon wave, take advantage of it.
Absolutely.
Are you living close to Lynn? To Lindul? Are you living
I'm
close
living in
to
Australia, but I'm in Western Australia and she's in South Australia. So it would take us about nearly 2 days or a day and a half of driving to reach her.
Oh, no.
So I want to thank you once again so much, and all the very best on your ventures. And yeah, it's a wonderful thing that you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the interview. Thank you for having us.